What's up, guys? My name is Javier and welcome back to another episode of Tool Craze. So here we got some more Ryobi tools. Both of them are cordless and they run off of their 1+ 18V batteries. So over here we got the crazy new Quiet Strike impact driver, or pulse driver is what it's known as. And over here we got the new brushless high torque hammer drill with, check this out, 750 inch-pounds of torque. So anyways, we're going to take a look at their features first, and then take a look at their performance to see how they stack up. And in this video, we're going to focus on the Ryobi Quiet Strike pulse driver. I was going to make this a double video review with both of these in it, but then the video got way too long and I had to split them up. So I made a separate video review of this new brushless hammer drill. So you got to make sure to check that out as well. So first of all, let's talk about the price, because let's face it, we all want the top brands with all the best features and performance, but some of us can't exactly afford or would want to spend hundreds of dollars on the top brands. And that's exactly why we take a look at the budget brands that pack good bang for your buck like Ryobi does. And the price for the Quiet Strike impact driver is $99, and that's the price for just the tool only, which means that no batteries or chargers are included. It may seem like a higher price than what we normally expect from Ryobi, since all you do get is the tool itself, but keep in mind that this bad boy is much quieter than your regular impact drivers. That, and it has all new oil pulse technology that works slightly differently than a regular impact, to get you that much quieter performance. We'll go over how quiet it actually is in a bit. Now let's take a look at its features, starting off with the features it has in common with previous models. It's no surprise that it has many of the carryover features from other cordless Ryobi tools, such as the magnetic tray that can hold a few screws and extra bits to free up your hands. It features the dedicated bit holder up in front and the handy dandy belt clip on the side. Now let's focus directly on the unique features of the Quiet Strike pulse driver. So other cordless tools have a LED light that lights up when you press the trigger, but what's neat about this impact driver is that you get their tri-beam system that uses 3 lights for less visible shadows. And the way it works is that each light overlaps the other light's shadows, so essentially you don't get shadows, or they're not as pronounced. But what I don't like about this light on the Quiet Strike is that it doesn't stay lit after you press the trigger, only when you press it. I like other tools that have the light delay, because you can set the light down and use them for a temporary 10 or 20-second flashlight. Now, I know it's not perfect, but those few extra seconds can mean the difference of having or not having to bring an additional flashlight. Remember that I was saying that Ryobi is a budget brand? Well, one of the things about budget brands is that, of course, you pay less, but you don't get all of the latest and greatest features or performance that you would expect from the more expensive brands. What you get with the more expensive brands is you get a small, compact, and lightweight tool with great performance. But as we can see here, the Quiet Strike is quite strikingly huge, and it's almost as big as a hammer drill. But the thing is that impact drivers are supposed to be much smaller than this. And the Hitachi 18V impact driver that I reviewed way back in 2014, I thought that was kind of long, but that's nothing compared to this giganto Quiet Strike pulse driver. Now you're probably thinking, well, it probably has to do with the new hydraulic oil pulse technology that makes it run much quieter. That probably would make sense, but not exactly. If you look at Rigid's oil pulse driver, the Stealth Force, while it's true that it's not the smallest impact driver out there, it's actually not big at all. And then if you look at the Milwaukee Surge oil pulse driver, they actually managed to make an oil pulse driver smaller than a regular impact. So I'm not really sure why the Ryobi Quiet Strike is so massive. And it's heavy also for an impact driver. At 4.8 pounds with the 4.0 battery, it's pretty darn heavy for an impact, and you'll definitely feel the difference if you're used to smaller, lighter impact drivers. I suggest you use the smaller compact batteries, more compact batteries on this impact, but even then it's still over 4 pounds and it feels like I'm holding a compact drill with the larger fat pack batteries. So if you're looking for a lighter, more compact impact driver, there's a ton of them out there. So that brings us to the point. If it's huge heavy for what it is, and expensive for a Ryobi tool, considering you're paying a Benjamin for just the tool alone and no batteries or chargers are included, the question is, why choose this bad boy at all? Well, the answer is simple. You choose this if you're already on the Ryobi 18V system and you have batteries on hand, and you're looking for the convenience of an impact driver without all that loud noise. Anyone that's ever tried an impact driver before knows exactly how crazy loud they get. And Ryobi markets this bad boy as having 50% less noise than a traditional impact driver. So let's go ahead and see if that's true or not. So to see how much quieter the Ryobi Quiet Strike is, we have to first figure out how loud a regular impact driver is. And for that, we'll test out the Milwaukee M18 Fuel, second generation impact driver, just to see how loud it gets. So after driving three 3-inch screws, we can see that the Milwaukee M18 Fuel impact driver puts out an average of 92 to 93 decibels. And before we get to the Quiet Strike, let's test out another quiet pulse driver, the Milwaukee M18 Fuel Surge, so we can compare and see how the Quiet Strike stacks up against other pulse drivers. And as we can see here, it averages at 80 decibels, which is 12 to 13 decibels quieter than the standard impact driver. I also have the rigid Stealth Force driver on hand, which is also another hydraulic driver. And let's give it a go just to see how the Milwaukee Surge compares in terms of sound. And here we can see that the Stealth Force averages about 81 decibels. 1 decibel isn't a big difference, making the Milwaukee Surge and the Stealth Force about as quiet as each other. So now that we've seen how loud a regular impact driver is and 2 pulse drivers are, let's see how the Ryobi stacks up against the other 3. And it also does great at keeping the noise down. So when it starts to screw, it starts at 82 decibels loudness and then quickly drops down to 78 and 79 decibels. So as expected, it's much quieter than standard impact driver and is about half as loud. Remember that noise doubles at every 10 decibels. And compared to the other pulse drivers, the Ryobi is just as quiet as the more expensive models while delivering about the same quiet noise levels. So now we've seen that it is in fact pretty quiet for an impact and every bit as quiet as the pulse drivers from the other brands. And now the question is, how does it perform? One of the long-standing impressions that people have of Ryobi power tools is that they're weak. You pay less and you get less performance. Now, that's true for the most part, especially with the older tools, but just like the newer cordless 18V Ryobi power tools, some of these can perform and actually keep up with the more expensive brands. And over here I ran several tests driving small 3-inch screws and running a lag bolt, and what impresses me about the Ryobi is that it keeps up with the other 3 models. The other 3 models are the same ones that we've seen earlier, and they represent high performance impact drivers. And it's great to see that the Ryobi is right there with them in terms of performance. It still falls just a bit behind, but it's pretty darn close in my opinion. And when you compare the drilling performance of the Ryobi against the others, it's basically about the same, except of course for the rigid, which is much faster. So basically you're getting very good performance out of this Ryobi Quiet Strike pulse driver. Ryobi doesn't list any torque specs, but at this point it doesn't really matter, as all you need to know is that it's good, and it keeps up pretty well against the other high performance impacts. And it's every bit as quiet as the other quiet pulse drivers. But the downsides are that it's huge and it's a heavy sucker. But there's always going to be a compromise when spending less. At least you don't have to compromise on performance or noise with this bad boy. So that's pretty much it for this video, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up by liking this video, subscribe if you haven't done so already, and follow me on social media over at Facebook, Twitter, and Google+. And also on the Tool Craze website, that's www.toolcraze.net. And you're missing out on a lot of content if you're not already a regular visitor. I have daily content on there such as tool news, where you're going to hear about the latest tools that are coming out. There's also tool deals, and also tool reviews you won't see here on this YouTube channel. And there's daily content on there every weekday, so make sure to check out the website often. Alright guys, thanks for stopping by, and I'll see you guys next time.